In most games, there's something that stands out to me. There's a clear talking point, it has something unique about it, a cool feature, a specific gameplay and design element, something like that. Clanfolk, a game developed by indie studio MinMax and published by Hooded Horse, has nothing like this, really. Still pretty much from when I booted up the game, I was hooked. 30 hours later, I'm sitting here writing a review because I played those 30 hours whenever I wasn't working my full-time job, pretty much. Let's just play one more day, is what a little voice in my head kept telling me, despite it being 4 AM on a Tuesday night, with my alarm going off at 8, only 4 hours later. It's very similar to the one more turn feeling in Civilization. Clanfolk is super addictive, that's for sure. I couldn't tell you what stands out in particular about this game, although I will try. I can tell you, however, that this is a very solid colony sim game. It is only in early access, but there's no way anyone would complain if this launched as a full release. It is feature complete, it has a lot of depth, and most of all, it is a ton of fun. Clanfolk is a colony sim game set in medieval Scotland, and I have to admit that I didn't know the difference between a colony sim and a town builder. Apparently, a town builder is more about the expansion of the town, whereas a colony sim puts you on the map with limited starting resources and limited settlers, or colony members, or in this case, clan members, and your main goal is to grow your colony. I think there's a decent overlap as well between the genres, because another early access indie game like this, Timberborn, has you starting out with just a few beavers and some supplies, and the purpose is to expand and to grow your beaver city. The focus is less on the beavers and what they can do though, and much more on the town and how that supports its inhabitants. On the gradual scale I suppose exists, right, between colony sim and town builder, Clanfolk puts a fairly heavy emphasis on the colony sim aspects. Your colony does not rapidly expand when it comes to its members, for example. I played for around 150 days and my colony only has 3 more settlers than I started with. Overall, the pace in Clanfolk is rather slow and therefore also more on the realistic side. Plowing a field takes multiple days or multiple people, which makes sense. The same is true for crafting, which takes multiple in-game hours for a single object. As a result, you need to manage your clan members carefully, so they focus on what is most important. Interestingly, what is most important changes due to many factors. Clanfolk is a game with seasons, like the before mentioned Timberborn or like Frostpunk, where you basically have 3 seasons to prepare for the winter and then you're screwed, at least at first. My first winter, the whole clan died because there was no food, the lake holding my water supplies was frozen, my villagers couldn't wash themselves anymore because that same lake was frozen, everyone was unhappy because I let them cut wood in a snowstorm, and then they all died in like 3 days. Weirdly, the game kept playing, it wasn't game over technically, despite my ghost town. With this in mind, what is important changes per season. In the spring, the trees are blossoming and it's not a bad time to stock up on wood supply. Also, major town expansions are best started early on, so you have time to finish them before the cold hits. You don't want to have your villagers outside all the time in the winter, because they don't like it and they might even freeze to death. And you start planting those seeds in the spring, right? For oats, flax and berries. In the summer, it's time to harvest those seeds and berries and make sure to treat them properly so you can store them for longer periods. In autumn, mushrooms are plentiful, in particular around the tree stumps of those trees you cut earlier, providing villagers with another food source if dried properly. Next to harvesting, there's other things to take care about, for example animal husbandry. You can have chickens for eggs, pigs for meat, sheep for wool, cows for milk, and there are goats too, I think also for milk. However, these animals require a place to stay. They also generate warmth, which you can funnel with vents throughout the buildings to keep your villagers warm, and the cattle requires food. Next to food, your clanfolk have other needs. Flutes provide happiness when played, clothing is vital against rain and cold, Good beds and facilities make them happy and work harder. Large rooms make them content, and a 2-person bed raises the chance of them producing offspring. The cute little babies that come from that need nursing and care, and it takes literal in-game years before a baby grows up to be a full clan member. In other words, something useful. Hopefully you get a bit of sense what pacing this colony sim has. It's definitely on the slower side, but you can speed up the game 4 times and there are still plenty of decisions to be made during the slow pace of Clanfolk. Each individual clan member has a personality with certain traits and jobs that they're good at and they like doing, and jobs they hate. It's a good idea to have people do jobs they enjoy because that increases their happiness and, effectiveness, but it's an even better idea to make sure your villagers are doing what it takes to prepare for the harsh winter. That might mean doing a shitty job or temporarily overworking them just to get what you need. Because if one of the vital components in either the food or supply chain breaks down in the winter, which is likely to happen by the way, you are pretty much screwed. The management part is significant here. I found myself quite often readjusting priorities or trading with the people that visit you from other clans or making a decision to hire the occasional worker. If you treat the workers well and you have people in your clan that are still a bachelor, you can marry a satisfied worker to a clan member, so the worker becomes a clan member as well and doesn't require a daily salary anymore. This, next to babies, is the only way to grow your clan. I would honestly like to see that workers can become part of the clan even if there is no available suitor, if they just want to go solo, let's say. In order for them to join, you need to max out their happiness threshold, which is already quite a challenge. But maybe allowing any happy worker to join the clan might make the game too easy, I don't know. On the topic of difficulty, I found Clanfolk to be very comparable to Banished. I haven't played RimWorld, which is probably the go-to comparison here, so I can't compare it to that. Banished, however, is something I played and thought about a lot, because it's also a very soothing and cute game and everything is just completely fine and you have your tiny villagers moving around and doing their job and you're feeling good about your management skills, and then winter hits and everyone dies. And you realize you need to step it up. That is how Clanfolk is managed too. You need to be on top of things because a random fire may happen if you are careless, or a missing link in the supply chain might have everyone starving. I never felt there was some RNG, however, involved here. It was definitely me and something I didn't manage well. Also good to know, there are no random encounters or disasters, at least not in the 30 hours I played, and that's great because I honestly hate that in town builders. Something absent as well is combat and armies and such. The focus is on survival and town building, not on waging wars. But don't worry, there are still plenty of ways to die. Time for some feedback maybe, some of the things I did not enjoy. There's not much, honestly. I encountered very few bugs. For example, I think there's one duplication bug with water bottles because every time a villager refilled a clay pot with water, the whole thing duplicated. At some point I had 15,000 water supply. At least I didn't die from thirst anymore, but this is to indicate some of the minor bugs I encountered. I had 0 crashes in 30 hours. I did notice occasional frame rate drops, especially after like 130 plus days of play. As the town grows, I can imagine the processing required grows with it, and from time to time the frame rate sank to 15 or 20 FPS, only to recover in the next couple of days, or next season. Mostly the game is well optimized while I show my PC specs, but it has the occasional off day where restarting the game doesn't solve it either, meaning it's not like a memory leak or something like that, just an overload most likely on the CPU. Another point of feedback is that I am not in love with the UI, although I find it hard to pinpoint what I don't love about it. Maybe it is inherent to these games that UIs are simply very elaborate, and to some extent the game is one big UI, but I felt that this is something that could be tidied up a bit more. I'm not a UX designer, but to me it seems I needed to click a lot of buttons and scroll through a lot of menus to get what I needed, whether it was finding some tech and how to unlock it, prioritizing villager work, or just finding a building. Even after 30 hours, I am still looking for the right menus, and that doesn't seem like an intuitive UI to me. It is not horrible by any means, but it can be improved for sure. A final point of feedback, but this is very much a design decision, I get that. I personally feel the pacing might be a little bit on the slow side. I would like to see you having options to expand a little bit faster on the actual members. Now it literally takes ages, and your main challenge is making money and hiring workers. A large part of this game isn't actually your colony, but a workforce of immigrants from other clans, and I'm not sure that is supposed to happen. As this is an early access game, let's look at the Steam page. It says, and I can confirm this, that the core gameplay loop is there. Not only is it there, it is bloody addictive, exactly what you want from a game like this. There aren't too many game modes. You can play the standard game or even impose more challenges on yourself, whatever you prefer. In terms of win conditions, as far as I'm aware, they simply don't exist. Your main objective is to survive the winter, and afterwards you can slowly enjoy expanding the town and unlocking the tech tree. Ultimately, I had old tech unlocked, but still wanted to start a new clan and relive the experience, which is once again a great sign. In terms of future goals, the devs say, and I quote, "The goal will be to continue to make the homestead feel more and more alive and give the player even more reasons to care about each family member's life and future." End quote. That makes sense. The homestead already feels cozy, but if you would add elements that are present in a game like Valheim, for example, like bear rugs, decorative shields, candles and other attributes to customize your village, next to making it functional, that would be amazing. I really hope I could do this game justice with my review and help you understand what Clanfolk is. There is a demo on Steam which should be very representative because I was hooked after 1 hour, and so should you if you enjoy this. You will know soon enough what the game is like, and I can tell you that after 30 hours I had to stop to either go to work or write this script, meaning it has plenty of longevity with more features on the way. An easy recommendation from my end, almost irrespective of the price. Thanks for watching and making it to the end, I appreciate it. Please subscribe, we are on our way to 200 subs. I think that would be a cool milestone to hit in the early life of this channel. I'm doing indie game reviews and weekly roundups with indie game news, including patch news for games like Clanfolk, so it's easy for you to keep up with everything. I love you all, see you soon, bye bye.